Labrīt visiem šajā rītā. Izskatās, ka ir vēl viens brīnišķīgs rīts pienācis. Ir palikusi viena diena līdz dizaina gada balvas ceremonijai. Un šī bijusi noteikti aizņemta nakts, aizņemts rīts, aizņemts vakardienas vakars. Un mēs visi esam atkal šeit sapulcējušies, lai tuvāk iepazītu tos 20 finālistus, kuri būs tie galvenie pretendenti arī uz tālākajām balvām. Vispirms savā un visu pārējo dizaina gada balvas organizatoru vārdā es saku sveicu jūs visus ar šo panākumu jūsu profesionālajā un personīgajā dzīvē. Tas ir ļoti patīkami. Un jāsaka, arī šodien mēs šo visu notikumu pārraidam tiešraidē Latvijas Dizaina gada balvas starptautiskajā mājaslapā Facebook. Tā kā arī tie, kuri nav šeit klāt, un jūs savukārt varat saviem draugiem paziņām pateikt, ka tie noteikti var sekot Facebook tiešraidē. Jāsaka, ka noteikti tādu būs daudz, jo ja mēs paskatāmies atpakaļ, kas notiek zāles beigās cilvēks stāv kājās, tātad interese par šo notikumu ir ārkārtīgi liela. Okay, hello everybody. This morning I think it's been a very busy night. It's been a very busy morning too for the 20 finalists. The jury done their work. I think it is maybe for a lot of participants a very exciting moment, and I hope everybody is in a very good mood today. And today we are going to discover these 20 finalists a little bit more, because yesterday I also got a package, some folder with signed top secret, and I thought, okay, I need to open this folder and find out for myself who is the 20 finalists, but it's very late evening, so that I'm also very excited for today's event, because I'm not so familiar with all these participants and all these 20 finalists, so that this event also we will broadcast, and we already broadcast in live on our Facebook homepage. And we would like to say thank you to our big partner, Essential Latvia, and just to look again to their like a brand card.
We put the pin in a non-existing area because we are not afraid. Not to predict the future, but to create it, to affect it. These are our specialists, those who create the frame of the body. Technologies are worth nothing without our people. People give them soul and bring them to life. The art has changed. These are creators. They define the beauty, the skin, the fingerprints of design. Knowing the mission, that is our difference.
So the main part we heard very well. I think it's good. It's good. Then how we are going to do this event? We have these finalists, but not all of them. We have 19 of them, and I will give a word to each of these finalists, and they have 3 minutes for their presentation, and then jury will be very free to ask some questions, and I will pass the microphone to you after this presentation. So let's get started. And our first participant with their presentation is Tactile. It's some special toys for children with autism. Please welcome with your presentation, and participant, please come here.
Hello, my name is Paula Lorenze, and I have designed developing material for children with autism spectrum disorders. These tactile objects are used during therapy sessions by therapists who are working with children with autism. And tactile therapy is very essential for them, because it can help them focus, overcome sensory sensitivities, and also soothe anxiety. I have designed 12 different different material objects, because every autistic children is different. One is more sensitive, one is less sensitive, one is more developed, one is less developed. So that's why I designed 12 of these objects. So they are, each of them are categorized in 3 different levels. These 4 objects are the first level objects, and these are for more children who are less developed, that are particularly sensitive, and they can stand even a human touch. So these objects are very simple forms, and the focus is just on the material and the form. Second 4 objects are for more developed children that can stand more tactile stimulation. So they are with more texture, more material feel, and also more difficult forms. So it is for more developed children. The last 4 objects are also for more developed children, but they also are used in therapies when these children have panic attacks or they get stressed. So it really soothes them and is good for stress relief. So taking into account the growing numbers of children and adults affected by autism and the heightened need for sensory development tools, these kind of design objects are very beneficial for them because this method, tactile stimulation, can really affect the brain development and bring positive changes into their everyday lives. So with this method, it is really possible to help them facilitate the involvement of disabled people into contemporary lifestyle, and overall this can lead to enrichment and growth of society and the next generation. Thank you.
Yeah, paldies. Thank you. There is some questions from the jury.
Yeah, I have a question. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. It's a very beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
You've given a lot of consideration to form and material. Could you tell me a little bit, please, about your considerations to do with the colour palette and how you arrived at the palette?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, actually the color palette is really important because autistic children is not only sensitive for touch or hearing, but also for vision. So it is very important that these kind of colors are more muted, that they aren't that vibrant. So if they are using object that is very vibrant colors and very, for example, bright yellow, they can get very sensitive, and this can lead to the panic attack. So it is better that these objects are in more muted colors, so they can use them longer and don't get stressed out.
Thank you.
I just wondered where you tested these objects. You know, what context were they developed in, and where are they used?
Yeah, of course, I have tested. At first, I researched a lot about autism. I talked to therapists and I showed them my idea and so on. And then when the product was developed, I went to the autism associations here in Latvia. So I gave them these objects, and I actually saw these children using them. So and therapists also. So it has been used, but the thing is that every autistic children is different. One is more developed, one is less. So also these therapists, it really is also up to them how they use them, how they integrate them into their work and into the therapy sessions. So yes, but I have seen how they interact with them, and I can tell that it is very interesting because everyone is different, and that's why I designed 12 of these objects. So it is used for many of these autistic children. And but overall, I think that as I have researched and talked to therapists about this tactile stimulation, it is very beneficial, and in the end, it can really help them develop.
I have a question as well. Are there any similar items like this products in the market at the moment? And if there are, what's the difference in
Well, the thing is that first, when I wanted to design something for autistic children, I researched a lot of these objects that are in the market right now, and I saw that the thing is that there aren't many of these kind of objects, and also any material for them, because the material that have for them are very overall used for not only specific for autistic children, so they don't have in these materials some characteristics that are important for autistic children. And yes, and as for tactile stimulation objects, I have researched so much about them, and I really haven't seen anything like that. So it was very important for me because I saw that I wanted to design for these autistic children because I saw that they don't have a lot of materials.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll say thank you. Paldies, Paula. The next presentation is stage design, both sides, please.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, jury. I will tell you about both sides, and it is a multimedia dance performance that was designed as a that was made to be the main event of. It was made to be the main event of centenary of Latvia. That happened last year in November. So the idea of the project was to tell the story about Latvia to guide the audience through the history of Latvia with the help of dance and music and video art. And our part in this project was to make a object element as a stage that would unify these different disciplines of art, and that's what we did. So we designed a stage that was in the shape of Latvian flag. We used a flag that was not. We used flag not only because it has a very strong symbolic meaning, but also because it was great for us as a space maker. So because of how Latvian flag is built with this line in the middle and two sides, both sides on the sides, and so it was. So we used it as a kind of very easy, as a place where you can make dance space for a bigger audience, bigger mass scenes of dancers, and as well as in this big stage we found a way how to build several smaller stages for more intimate scenes of solo dances, and it also worked as a giant video projection screen of 2,000 square meters, and because of this polygonal surface, how we built it, it could be used as one big video projection screen, or each of these triangular surfaces could be used also as a small or as many small video projection screens, and we had to build it in 24 hours. So we pre-made kind of modules of 250 by 250 2 meters 50 by 250, and we had 250 of those that we then brought together later in Arena Riga, and it was made from wooden structure that was covered with plywood. And we just did the design part of the stage, but there were 400 more people that participated in this project. There were dancers, video artists, musicians, and I think we all felt very honored to be part of this project. So thank you.
Thank you. There again, time for questions, if they have.
Thank you for your presentation. Can you tell us more what happened with the stage set after the event was over?
Yeah, that's the most common question that we usually get about these kind of projects. It had 3 performances, and later on it didn't have a life like it was originally, kind of, but it was remade in other projects. So basically, these wooden structures were used again for another stages, and part of it was just thrown out, but then part of it was reused. But yeah.
It was for the Burning Man.
No. But could have been, but not this time. Yeah.
That's great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how we will continue with some magic things, because the next presentation is about exposition Legend of the Iron Knight. Please, you are welcome.
Yes, hello again, I'm back. So I will tell you another story. So this story is, so 2 years ago in the eastern part of Latvia, there were found in eastern part of Latvia, in a small village in the yard of a countryside house, there were found 30 spare parts of the first Latvian armored machine. And basically we were asked to make exposition about these 30 pieces of metal in Riga Motor Museum that we later called the Legend of the Iron Warrior. So what the main concept of the exposition was that we wanted to give people opportunity to see how this armored machine, how it looked during its lifetime. It experienced 2 wars and two periods of peace in history, and it was rebuilt 4 times. So what we did is we enclosed these details that were found in a box with 4 windows here. So basically, through these windows, people could come and see how the machine looked in these 4 periods of time. So we recreated, together with video artists, the original look of these 4 different times with a special 3D laser technology that was projected on transparent glass. So you can come and see how it looked in 4 different times, the machine. Another thing that we wanted also to use was this tower that this armored machine had, and we wanted people to not only see how the machine looked at its time, but we also wanted to give them opportunity to see how the time looked from the perspective of Imanta, of this armored machine. So we built 4 towers in 4 corners of this box, where people could go inside, and then they could experience 4 special events that Imanta experienced during her lifetime there. You can turn them and see the time. So 2 views from to Imanta and from Imanta. And around this special machine, we also built another. We made designed interactive installations that are talking about the war technique in the world, and also to telling the story how this exposition happened when this machine was found, and people can also get more knowledge about war technique that has been here in Latvia. So this is a temporary exhibition. It's for 1 year. So I would like you all to also to encourage to go and see it if you haven't already. So thank you.
Some messages, some questions, or maybe some.
Could you tell us a little bit more about how the holograms work?
Yes. So basically, holograms work that in a way. So basically, there are 4 windows that have special film on them, and then there are small video projectors that are placed on lower. So when you come closer to this window, there is a kind of we did a lot of research. There's not too much material accessible about this machine, but we kind of recreated the three-dimensional model of from the photos of the machine, how it looked, and then basically you come here. It's a kind of line work that becomes that starts to move, and then the machine starts to like go and here maybe not very well you can see, but then it starts to. That was line work that you could come and see how it matches with the details that are hanging in the positions where they were originally, and then it starts to drive the machine and so.
And what's the function of the boxes that it sits on? Is that to hide the projectors? Why did you choose that?
These ones were to hide the light, basically, because there is we didn't want. It's important for the video projections that you. That there is still you want to illuminate the object, but then you don't want to see the light that would distract you from the images that we created. So these were the boxes to hide the light, just hidden light, and so yeah. And actually, all this box was made also because when you just take these kind of spare parts of this historical machine, then they seem just pieces of metal, and we wanted to make them more special. That's why. How this box was kind of created. It's like it looks like kind of aquarium or a kind of special, a beast that is kind of discovered and framed, like a painting to make it more special. That was the idea also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On to your next presentation.
No, and that's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more? What was actually the message? What you wanted to tell the public with this exhibition?
Good question. Basically, we wanted just to. What we wanted to highlight is that that Latvia basically is a small country. It has always been, and that there are also, that we also have special things that we can be proud of, and that we have had the things that other countries maybe have always had, and this is one of our first armored machines that we would like to be proud of. That's why we wanted to also for people to explore it, to know more about the war technique that Latvia has had during the history. So basically to tell the story of the things that we can be proud of, and that we have and have had also in history. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. The last year was very inspiring for a lot of artists, a lot of designers, because Latvian 100th anniversary was a time when we discovered a lot of things, maybe in different angles, and we would like to. We tried to express these events through the world, and try to, of course, encourage ourselves first, and then others, our guests, so that it's a really interesting time was. And so we heard and saw two presentations which somehow connect past and nowadays. And the next presentation will be about nowadays and maybe also about already future. So the next presentation is about mobile app Derek.
Hello. Hello, my name is Marcis, and I'm here to tell you about an application called Derek, which stands for Dental Records. So, what it is, it's an application for dentists to keep their dental charts. So, dental charts is the thing, if you remember last time you've been to dentist, it's the thing where dentist examines your teeth and keeps all the records in Latin words, telling to its assistant, and assistant tries to write it all down. And but it's haven't been like that with an iPad for a while. It's usually if they use any digital tools, then they look something like this. There are also iPad applications, but it's also a little bit like clumsy, maybe from the usability point of view. And but the majority of dentists still use paper sheets where they keep their records. So, but that's maybe not the point. We entered this competition since we heard that design is a process, and this application is kind of like really a design process, because we saw an opportunity there that we can build like user-centric design for this need of keeping the dental charts. So and make it modern. And what we did is we literally researched. This is our designers visiting the dentist and like observing their this practice and how they work and what tools do they use. And we kind of tested the layouts together with the dentists and the students also. And also when we have the demo version of application, also went to them and showed them and collected feedback and made this application as convenient as possible for them. So, and one thing is when you keep the dental charts, that's usually done by the assistant, and the process has to be fast. So when the dentist goes through the teeth and says, "Oh, this teeth number 15 has done that problem," so assistant has to write it down, and the best way to do it is in this case with the big buttons where you have to click predefined fields of basically what can be wrong with that teeth. So you just go to teeth, click what the dentist says, and swipe it to the next teeth. So that's making this process really fast. You don't have to input any text, just tap and go forward. And for dentists, it's the view is a bit different. So when they for example, if the patient comes to them, so they have to remember who the patient is, and they usually don't remember the names, but when they see the teeth, then they know which one is it. So and this
Martin, sorry, it's half a minute less.
Oh yeah, it's okay. And that's why it's really visual. There's also basically no text. That the layout is made so you can understand from the drawings what's wrong with the teeth. And it also helps to explain the patients, so what's going on and what's going to be the treatment. Yeah, and the app is still in beta. But it's available in App Store, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Can you explain a little bit the collaboration with the dentist?
Yeah, well, basically, we also the process started from we explored what kind of products can we make, like to solve some problems for dentists, because we've been working with this company that creates applications for dentists before, and yeah, we saw an opportunity in this dental charting thing, and so the first thing was we interviewed the dentists. So how would they like it to be, the process, and yeah, so then we discovered there's the assistant, the dentist, and the people at reception desks that are involved in all this process, and yeah, we kind of build it from those insights, and then went and tested and collected feedback and improved the designs.
Is it challenging to use the iPad with rubber gloves?
No, it works. Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question about how long did it take you to design it from the initial stage to the beta product?
Yeah, about a year.
Okay. So quite quickly, I would say. I don't know.
Yeah, we were quick. Yeah. So there wasn't anything to, yeah.
Yes.
What are your next steps?
Well, we have to enter the market now, and we are working on that. We are tweaking the, let's say, bugs, and and yeah, but now, yeah, the app has been translated in a few languages, which are supposed to be the strategy where we want to enter them. It's more like German speaking, and yeah, we'll see where it gets.
And the last one from me: where the data going to be storage?
Yeah, it's in cloud. It's in cloud, and it's not in the device. And yeah, so and yeah, the big because for the dentists they don't want to lose their data, and they also want them to be safe, and so it's GDPR compliant and etc. So yeah, you have to register, and yeah, but it's a medicine, so it's.
I'm sorry for the question, but are you the designer or you're the programmer, or like?
No, well, we're like a digital agency which works on this project. There's many people involved. I'm not a designer. I'm like the lead of the UX team. So the designer is somewhere else.
No, I'm glad that you entered. I'm just glad that you entered, like, because you said that you entered because you heard about this process. And I think we all are very glad that people enter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It means that now in cloud will be also our teeth, yeah, and the data about our teeth. So, thank you. And the next presentation is also about mobile application, and it's mobile application Aisha. Sorry for pronunciation. Aisha. Asya, yeah, Asya. Oi. It's more complicated. But actually, it's like a Latvian woman word, Asya. Okay, welcome.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Ariel. I'm the co-founder of a new startup called Asya. At Asya, we looked at the world, and this is what we saw. We saw people being with each other, but they're not present with each other. They're somewhere else. They're in their social media, their phones. And we see that we can solve this problem. We can help people increase their communication skills. So in the digital age, the human attention span has decreased for 30%. There's this thing called empathy gap, where people struggle to empathize with others just because they need that constant social media. And reduction of meaningful activities like face-to-face conversations actually erode self-esteem. So we want to change that. We want to change the way people talk to each other. And how do we do it? We've created an app that uses AI in an ethical way and helps people to have mindful conversations. So similarly to like fitness trackers, it actually gives you private feedback about the way how you talk to others, so you can learn how well you listen, do you talk with simplicity, what kind of emotions are in your voice. So you get statistics while you're having a conversation. And to wrap it all up, we created the world's first real-time visual conversation with the power of AI. And in this beautiful flower, which in real time changes, you can see the conversation. So you can see whether you're a good listener. If you don't have the leaves on the flower, you're not a good listener. So, yeah. And we're also planning to do an Apple Watch for even seamless, more seamless experience. So all this technology is actually our own creation. It's our own research. My older brother, he's a PhD student in AI, and so this is our own intellectual property. So we're already in the process of registering trademarks and patents for this technology. And these are the designs we submitted for this competition. This app is coming out in July. We have different functionalities in the app, both the practice, but also you can learn the communication skills. And you can also have like a relationship section where you can actually track your relationships. And if you don't like Facebook, if you're the person who says delete Facebook, you can use this, because this is a more ethical way. You don't need to see ads, and this whole business is not based around that. So where do we position ourselves? There are apps similar with this technology, but they're focused on speech coaching. Our app is focusing on mindfulness market. So Calm in February just became the 1 billion company. So this is the market we're aiming at. In 5 months, we achieved certain success. We've raised 120,000 euros in seed funding, and we also won 500 startups competition. We're applying currently, hoping to get this summer to America. Our business model is subscription-based. It's my older brother. Thank you so much, and you can sign up at asya.ai.
Great to hear a little bit more about how this works. We were wondering, do you rate conversations? Do you rate each other's conversations? Because we thought that maybe that was a bit like an episode of Black Mirror or something. It had a kind of slightly sinister overtone.
We actually we do rate the conversations, but our whole idea is we are not judging the conversation. So we don't have any transcriptions of the conversation. The way how we rate it is based on, for instance, listening skills. So if your listening is only 30%, that's bad, you know, if you're trying to be a good listener. So you'll have like 4 out of 10. So very basic scoring, but we're not scoring any like actual contents of the conversation.
And how has this changed your life?
A better relationship with my wife.
Great.
Tell them about your app.
It's okay, yeah?
Thank you. Could you explain more what you define as a mindful conversation and how it's detected?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So our assumption is that every conversation should be in the present moment, where you're not thinking about something else, where you're not, judging or whatever. And how do we achieve it? Through time. Time is one of the best awareness tools. The same way as when we do meditation, we breathe, and that brings us back to the present moment. If we are more like we're using the timers here to know how fast we speak and like how much time. If you're talking for 2 minutes, you actually start to blabber off. There's science says that if you talk more than 30 seconds, there's increase in negative emotions. So by giving you that time awareness, you actually become more mindful of the words you choose, how well you pay attention to the other person. So, and that's how you become mindful in the moment.
Could it be that you can become addictive about this application? Basically, it's kind of uses the same things that you are trying to use something just to get some kind of.
I guess so. Anything can be addictive. I think our end goal is to have better relationships for people, to have like better relationships at work and with personal relationships. If that's something that has good value, it's sort of like it's on the edge of like, you know, having enough benefits to be that way. Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone.
So anyway, now it's a springtime in Latvia too, so that at the start, that's very soon our all trees also are going to blossom, so that at least one of the blossom and trees we will have very soon. The next presentation is Burning Consciousness, permanent exhibition in Cēsis.
Hello, my name is Elīna Kalniņa and I'm a curator of the exhibition.
And we are both Dzilo that are artists of the exhibition.
Good morning.
We will try.
Yeah, you can start. We created the exhibition designed carefully, visually aesthetic and aesthetic. And as Fyodor Dostoevsky said, fear of aesthetic is the first symptom of weakness, and we were not afraid.
We both, me and my husband, work in mainly in as visual artists in theater and in opera as scenographers, but we are interested in creating visual dramaturgy also in the exhibition space.
Okay.
This exhibition is constructed to enable visitors to engage in personal dialogue. We did not simplify or reduce the content and tried to encourage the visitor to continue to explore deeper, more by themselves.
The visual dramaturgy of the exhibition is based on two main visual themes. The first one is discovery.
Historical content, as you see, is hidden and reveals gradually. The sound, will you see in the future near, is hidden in the handsets to be heard by just one ear. And by hearing it, you can hear the resistance story as a personal call from the past. And all the images are hidden in manual slideshow boxes to be seen by just one eye and to look into a personal photo archive.
The second theme is eternal movement. In each prison cell, the resisting person is placed in the center of the space and is rotating by resembling eternal remembrance.
And we thought that it's important that we are not simulating his history in our exhibition. The new is new and the old is old. And the new part of the exhibition is in contrast with the old, and it highlights the authenticity and brutality of the prison.
The timelines, each fragment resembles a platform for public speech, something like this, where historical accusations and justifications could have take place.
The CV of a KGB operative is displayed in the prisoner's toilet cell. You saw it in the beginning of the video. And the whole space is made of wooden archive shelves with 648 drawers that only one is opened. And that also highlights the problem in Latvia with accessibility of KGB files, because most of them are still unknown.
And there are no original artifacts displayed because all of them are accessible only for historians and museum workers. And it was important to give the visitors an opportunity not only to see them but also to touch them, which would never be possible with the originals. The occupation history in our exhibition is presented by emphasizing the resistance. The resistance actually is a forgotten part of history in Latvia. Both occupation regimes were carefully hiding it from the people, and it is still our hidden past. But the resistance history is something our society should know about and be proud of.
As we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions from jury? No. Thank you so much. Next presentation is brand design for Viegli.
Hello? Do you hear me? Great. Now? So, hi, my name is Evi. I'm from a design studio Overpriced, and today I'm going to tell you a little story about one of the most loved Latvian authors, Imants Ziedonis, and Fond Viegli, who was our client for this brand identity. And to start with, why Latvians love Imants Ziedonis. He is not only one of the most prominent Latvian authors of 20th century, he was also a big creative thinker and also a big influencer on the whole Latvian society. And today, Fond Viegli is the voice of Imants Ziedonis in 21st century. They do it through creating educational events, social events, and also just telling further the story of the life of Imants Ziedonis. When we started to work with Fond Viegli, despite the fact that they are already one of the most loved social brands in Latvia, we identified at least two problems we wanted to solve with this brand identity. How do we interpret one of the most loved Latvian authors in 21st century? As mentioned before, he was a really creative personality, and he was also the one who left a big impact on how Latvians see beauty and how Latvians see the way that they should be living. The second thing, how do we communicate everything that Viegli does? The fund is a really creative bunch, and they do a lot of events. Every year they do concerts, they do exhibitions, lectures, and other events that each need a communication tool to further tell the story of Imants Ziedonis. And when we looked for the solution, we looked at Imants himself. He was a firm believer in the idea of a vertical, and for him, living by a vertical meant living a fulfilled life. It meant growing in spirit and also growing in beauty. And from there on, vertical was something we translated into all the design elements and brand design and all the brand ecosystem. From an upward moving symbol that was the main symbol of the fund and of all the initiatives, to also a vertical photography and vertical textural elements. Further on, we also created real-life vertical objects with also the Z that kind of emphasized the author himself in the brand identity. The same applied for the wordmark itself, and also functionally, we solved the problem of all the initiatives that Viegli wanted to communicate about, be it the library of the author, the educational program of the author, and also the museum. What's nice, it also translated into into several brand materials, be it physical platforms or digital ones, and continued the brand also in an exhibition about the author that's actually up now. You should check it out. Thank you.
Questions from jury?
Thank you. Could you tell us more about those digital platforms you mentioned?
Yeah, at the moment there are not that many. One of the first ones where we kind of translated the identity was the web. There was also a bit of a challenge because they wanted a website that can kind of unite all the initiatives. So at the moment they have the website for the fund that also kind of categorizes all the initiatives I mentioned before, like the classroom, the museum, and the library. Thank you.
Nice, lovely work.
Thank
What
you.
are the main touch points for the brand to interact with the users?
I would say that there are really many, because I mentioned there are so many events that they organize, and basically we wanted to make sure the identity can translate into several events and platforms and touch points. At the moment, there is an ongoing exhibition in the kind of the embassy of Ziedonis in Riga, and there's a separate separate initiative for children, where children can kind of interact with the stories by the author, and adults can see an exhibition and interact with the actual content. And throughout all those platforms, identity appears, and identity kind of helps to tell the story. Thank you.
Paldies, Evija. Thank you.
Thank you. Paldies.
The next participants are very welcome. National Library of Latvia event posters.
Hello. Can you hear me? No? Yeah, okay. Hi, my name is Aneta. I am one of 9 members of Exhibitions and Design team at the National Library of Latvia. We are the largest design studio within the public sector in Latvia, and the library itself is celebrating its centenary this year, and this bird from our collection was selected as the main character for all our events this year. Every day, the National Library of Latvia hosts a number of events, and many of these are advertised with the help of posters, which we see as an extension of each event. The posters are produced and printed on site, usually in 1 to 5 copies. Their digital versions are usually published on the library's website and social media. The posters' designs reveal the diversity of the library's collections and events, from ancient manuscripts to science and modern technology. The collection itself is also used as a design element. We don't use stock photos. We have a very good stock of our own in the library, which is complemented by digital graphics and illustrations. And having served their purpose, the posters pass into the library's large poster collection of more than 7,000 items. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any question?
How do you build on the aesthetic? How does it grow? How do they relate as a group, as a collection?
It's a good question. There are 3 designers. Each of us have our own projects, and we also have a kind of an arts director. But usually each project has its own theme, it has its own topic and visual materials and identity. But we usually work together, we debate about each project, and so it is individual work, but it's also teamwork. So we kind of build the overall aesthetics of the institution as well as each separate project.
Okay. Paldies.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next one will be one of the 20 finalists, and his presentation will be about prefabricated house, tape A.
Hello, my name is Pēteris, and I will tell a little bit about our Type A. And before I start to talk about the product, I would like to address the international jury and talk a little bit about the Latvian identity and wisdom. Latvians go to country a lot. Everyone has a house at the countryside, or at least they have some relative or friend. But the thing is, when they arrive at the destination, instead of enjoying the nature, they start to repaint the toilet, build a new cellar, and then it of course leads to the misery, frustration. At the end, it's everything left in ruins, and it ends with death. So we decided to break the circle and create what we called the art of living with less. So this is a prefabricated house Type A. Of course, the competition is very rough. There are hundreds of prefab houses, but most of them have 2 mistakes. The first one, part of them are built without mindset that you are building the prefab. The second part is limited with a container size, so they can drive around with these houses. Actually, they never drive around. And then I think about the things which are designed to drive and not driving. I have this image in my mind. So we decided to go totally different way. we started what could be the minimum so you don't have to fall into the compromises. So we decided house with a footprint, just 25 square meters, but we have a large living room. We have a kitchen, we have a dining room, we have a reading area, we have a toilet, we have a wardrobe, we have a storage, and we have a regular size double bed and extra 5 square meters of a storage for small things. We do not make tests on animals, but we test on our employees, which is totally different story. So we use the extremes, Arta and Vadims, or architects, and we made a cardboard model 1-to-1 to test what would be the right position to sit, to sleep, to lay. What's the position of a window so Arta could reach and open it, and what would be like the best place for double space opened area so the Vadims will not like feel somehow limited in this area. We end up with a ceiling height just 2.25 meters, and then we realized somebody did this already before. But at least we created very interesting space which mix like low and high areas and open and closed areas. Of course, everyone now talks about sustainability. Most of them actually don't know anything about the sustainability, but as a construction is a main source of waste generation, we really took this into account. So we started with only natural materials. We are using 60 by 60 grid, which allows that you can use a standard kitchen, you can use a standard tiles, you don't have to cut anything. And a modern cut to millimeter precise technology is mixed with a tradition. So for exterior, we used the wood tar, which is a material used by Vikings already 1,000 years ago, and at the same time, it ages beautifully. This we call the state of art design detailing, because every detail is like tested 10 times, so we can get the precisely millimeter to millimeter connections, and we do not need any connecting materials. So you put the door, you put the window, everything fits perfectly within a frame, and you just don't need any like an additional small wooden or metallic thing to fix it.
Peter, es atvainojos, laiks skrien.
And it allows you to build a house within a day. And so it's as a product is easy to buy as a car. So if you catch me after this presentation, we can like arrange something, and you can maybe sit in your own Type A house already this summer. So this could possibly be the smallest house, but it has the largest terrace in the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
How much does it cost?
I already mentioned that it is as easy to buy as a car, so I will use the car dealer this thing starting from 60,000 euros. But of course, it could be upgraded twice if you want.
Great presentation. Can you explain a bit about the heating system and how it's organizing the energy?
Actually, the program minimum starting from 60,000, it has only this fireplace installed, but since the shape and a placement and arrangement of the house, it actually heats up within 10 minutes. And also a basic version has like this roof window, so you can see the stars, and if you open the door in the ground floor and open this window, you have a cross ventilation, so it's actually it heats up very easily, and also it cools down very easily. But of course, you can also, if you're really addicted to some mechanical things like recuperation and etc., you can upgrade this as well. But the basic version works quite naturally. So it's like also wisdom from our 100 years ago prehistory.
Thank you. Are there some people, excluding your employees, who are already living in that kind of house?
Yes, as you can see, the presentation consists of renders and actual photos. This is actual photography. The first house is in Acēsis, and Actually, due to this, that this is a private house for a client, we cannot like bring everyone there, but we somehow managed to bring few more interested customers. And the thing is that actually everyone says, really, is it only 40 square meters? So this was our main idea, to create something small which actually looks large.
I have many questions though, but one of them is like you showed the example of Le Corbusier, which is he has done research and he has built buildings mainly like that. And then there's of course this is not the first prefab house. The Muji has and a lot of. And what's different in that way? How do you position yourself in a market?
Like I said, there are like two common mistakes. The one is that the buildings, many of the buildings are built like a regular houses. Here you have a kitchen, here you have a toilet, and etc. And in our design, we approach with many functional areas overlapping. So the living room could be as it's actually a dining space and a reading space and a little bit of wardrobe itself. So actually, we are dividing these zones. And the second thing is, of course, second group is those who want to limit you to the container size, and a container it's 2.4 meters, and you already see it's a compromise. Either you will have like double-story bed or bathroom where you like sit and wash yourself at the same time. So we decided to go with no compromises, but at the same time find what is the minimum.
And just other question, you know, we have other award in Latvia as well. Why didn't you apply for that one?
We didn't apply for architecture award because of the one reason. You know that Latvian Architecture Award jury visits the site. Yeah. And this is our second house for this client, and they visited the first place, and then we get like.
I see.
So
it's a great product, though.
We definitely we are now working on a second house, which will be like publicly available. You could hire it as Airbnb. So I will send you the link when it will be done.
Thank you very much. It's a great presentation. Yeah.
Thank you.
My cabin. Yeah. Paldies, Peter. Okay, thank you. And next, our finalist is about information service. Information website, Women and Work. Please welcome.
Good morning. My name is Vineta Kreigere, and firstly I would like to, on behalf of our creative team, say that we are truly honored to be among such a brilliant set of finalists. So I'm here to present the information source for women on work, business and taxation matters. So, why women? Because in the different life situations, women's relationship with work is crucial. Being mother, wife, sister, grandmother, also divorced woman or widow, woman has to deal with different set of duties and responsibilities, you know. Giving a birth, taking care of children, their school, marriage, study life, grandchildren, and so on. And it goes also together with her own parents, with their health problems, and unfortunately pass away. And the question, the answer on the question why is also found in numbers. So in Latvia, women still get 70% less salary than men for the same job. Women in Latvia live on average 10 years later than men, so they have to make their living by their own. And research shows that 40% of women wish to be entrepreneurs, but only 14 really are. Why? Because the system is very complicated. All the necessary information about women, about work for women, is found in 20 legislative acts and on official websites of 13 public authorities. So where the design is hidden in our work? What we did? Firstly, we read all this information. Then we made it easily understandable by design. And then we packed the information for 10 types, for 10 different target audience, according to their life situation. So, one woman would like to start a new job. Another one need extra money to increase her income. Another one maybe come back from other country and need to be in Latvian labor market. Another one maybe has just divorced and has to replan her life. So let's have some examples. So if a woman is a mommy, so here she will find essential information about available benefits for pregnancy time and also maternity leave. If a woman is a re-immigrant and want to be back in the Latvian labor market, then she will find the necessary information about employment agreements, how it is here in Latvia, and also about salary calculation. And in the section entrepreneur, woman will find different types of businesses she can be in. 97 women participated in the testing of the website and greatly appreciated the prototype. And our creative team are also 3 women in different ages, and some of the information packages are based on our own experience. So, thank you.
Paldies, Vineta. Jury.
What do you need to make it real?
Actually, now I'm also in the creative industry incubator. So together with my team, we try to find out what could be the business models to maybe we could earn money. But the thing is that we have those official public authorities believe us that this is what women need. Not each other with their own information, but yeah, let's make it easy and together and understandable for the target audience.
Lovely work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Indra, Despina.
No, I don't have questions, but I think you should be commended for such a social move. I think actually, sorry, it's a little bit political. I just think you should be commended for such a social move. Women around the world are not paid in equal to men. This is not only in Latvia. You will find this everywhere in the world. So I think it's wonderful, and I want to support, just the social change. It's critical.
Thank you.
Yeah, great initiative. Have you tried actually to incorporate this kind of this website that is kind of separate now, right? But can you explain maybe what's the challenges about integrated this actually in the government sector?
I think the government section has to agree all the public authorities to have such a common source, and I think that then there is no problem. If yeah.
Did you try to go to?
Yes, we have talked with some people from different public institutions, but yeah, you know, it isn't going so very fast here in Latvia. But we will keep on. Yeah.
Paldies, Vineta. Thank you, Vineta. So now we have heard already part of our 20 finalists, so that we still would like to hear the 9 who is ready to introduce with their work. And the next will be the social design project Riga Tech Girls, Social and Service Design. Please.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy about the transition, women's topic, and now I'm next. It's not intentional, but I'm happy about it. So we heard the women's topic and participation in labor market, and now switch focus to IT. So that's what Riga Tech Girls is doing. Yes. So I'm Alice from Riga Tech Girls, and we are first NGO in Latvia dedicated to inspire and educate women about technology. And we do it with meetups, workshops, showing role models and involving more women into tech. And I would like to clarify 3 whys with my 3 minutes. So first is why social, why design, and why Riga Tech Girls, or what have we achieved. So less pictures, more stories. So why social? Well, besides the fact that we have social, we are NGO, and we are combining 2 groups, and Riga Tech Girls is mutually beneficial for both of them. So women, only 20% of women choose to connect their careers with IT at the moment, and 2% of girls in school consider to take a career path in IT. And this is really empowering environment, and women can grow in it, and they don't really know that. And also, if they stay away from IT, and we know that IT is connected with all industries, we know they stay out and they don't build digital future together. And then the second part is the industry. That's the light bulb and steering wheel that I have in the picture. So we are missing 16,000 of employees in the next few years until 2020. So NGO brings these parties together, and we are trying to close the gap, digital gap. So why design? Besides the our intentional activities to make this social cause, social change with our activities, I would claim that process, how we evolve and how we've grown our community in the 3 years, is the definition of design approach. So we have a community in the center. So we could be NGO saying that by 2025, we would like to close this labor market gap. We will produce 16,000 coders. But instead, we've defined our goal all the time involving women and community. We started with the goal creating more developers, but then we realized it's not just coding skills that women are missing. It was a series of workshops how to start a startup. It was the soft skills management courses. So we changed the course with yearly. We have a group meeting. We do surveys in every meetup, and we shape the content to a group of women, which is in our center. And then we evaluate goals and introduce learnings in yearly activities. And outcomes or achievements, so 3 parties, 3 main things that we see we've achieved. It's, first of all, personal stories. We have women graduating or coding workshops, changing their careers. Testers, developers, and startup creators. We see these stories in our community. Second new part is new tech communities emerging from Riga Tech Girls. We have VR community emerging from Riga Tech Girls startup workshop. So women started their workshop startup in a Riga Tech Girls community, and then created their own new women in VR community. And I would claim that we're the only organization that brings all parties in industry together, all stakeholders, companies that have equality on their agenda, startups, women. We're a neutral organization working with all of them for a greater cause to join and build, involve women in the digital future. And for women, it's more scholarships, more workshops, more internships in the companies. So we are as a glue in all parties that work together for the same cause. Thank you for shortlisting. That was our story.
It's a wonderful endeavor, which we all mightily approve of. But can you please tell us what the design element is in what you do, how you present it?
So I look at this as a human or woman-centered, the whole process and design, how we design all NGO. So it's not the project hasn't starting point, end point. We don't have a clear, clarified goal that we would like to achieve by this year and then it's over. So this iterative process and putting women in the center is an iterative, human, woman-centered process that makes us a designer. And of course, it's intentional activities that we have to approach the goal, get more women into tech. And it's really difficult to measure what is the outcome of our design, because we know that many companies, socially responsible companies, have this topic on their agenda. We, of course, celebrate every statistical improvement, like 30% of women now are involved in IT education instead of 25% that was last year, but we cannot attribute to ourselves. So process and attempts and connecting stakeholders is our design participation and process.
And how do you work with target audience? How do you see the idea in women minds they should work in IT more? Do you work with children or only with grown-up women? How it's work?
So the community evolved from women who already work in IT. So naturally, age group were the same as we are. So we gathered women around ourselves. We mapped industry players, so they're largest social responsible companies, and women who already work in IT, so they were role models to attracting other women. So as a result, women who are about to make their career choices in last years of high school, or women who are seeking for transition their careers. So it's last years of university, or some young woman with first work experience. So it's age group 16 to 30s, mid-30s. And because of us, naturally, and focus to change career or make career choice. And how we get these insights? So every meetup we have 3 events per month, 2 workshops, 1 meetup. In the end of every meetup, we have a survey when we ask to recommend other women who should be on a stage or propose a topic. So it's a recurring database of interests, and we map them and shape our program to get closer.
Your next challenge is to make sure that they don't get paid 17% less than men.
Yeah, well, it's a collaborative process with the whole industry.
Paldies.
Thank you.
And the next is about campaign I'm Introvert. Please.
So hi, my name is Una Rosenbaum, and I'm one of the creators of the campaign I Am Introvert, which was made for London Book Fair year 2017-18. So that I will just guide you through the whole campaign, and then you can ask me questions if there will be some needed. So the task was to promote Latvia in the London Book Fair. Probably some of you know what it is, but for those who don't, it's the main English-speaking book fair in the world. And the background of Latvian authors or Latvian literature were that our strengths are Latvian women writers, poetry, and illustration. And the weaknesses are that our Latvian do not like to speak publicly. They don't like to promote themselves. And what's the biggest, like the nicest thing is that they don't they are not claiming recognition, even they have any. So solution was not to lie or not to speak about us as different as we are, but were to try to find our uniqueness. So we turned to our weakness into strength. And we claimed that we are the most introverted people in general. So I will read it to you for those who are in the end. So what is so we claim that we are introverts. We are proud to be introverts. World is the perfect place for extroverts, for the kind of people that know how to start a relaxed conversation with a stranger, perform in front of an audience, say something kind about themselves, or hug someone for no reason at all. We are different. Latvians can feel deeply confused when kissed on both cheeks, or when suddenly talked on public transport. Should someone compliment a Latvian, he will turn red, white, red. Latvia is one of the world's most introvert nations, and so are our writers, of course, and we are proud of it. We allow our books to speak for us, since literature is the perfect word for introverts. So we created videos, but there is no time for it, so I'll tell you shortly what was in it. So the Latvian writers came out as an introvert. They told stories why we are introverts. Then we created the comic strip about a Latvian writer who was not expressing his love because he was too introvert for that. Then this is a real story from the girl who worked in Latvian literature, because once she thought that somebody said hello to her, but it was not meant to her, and then she said hello to him. For then whole day she was looking for him to say sorry that she said hello to him. So that's kind of we're not lying about it. And also this is also a true story about Latvian writer who came to the lecture to tell to young people how to be a writer, but he started the lecture with a sentence, "Actually, I am not a writer in general." Then the feminists kicked in, and they said that, come on, the Latvia has so many good women writers, so we needed to create the women character as well, which they were happy about. So yeah, and this is how it went. Then we created the introverts wardrobe, where you could take an anti-selfie of with a most introvert or quite depressive quote of Latvian author on your back. This is how it started, and people were really laughing about it. As we were in a London book fair, our neighbors were Estonians and Lithuanians. So Estonians said that, okay, if you are introverted, supposedly we are dead. Then we created beer with the quotes. We even sold T-shirts. Can you imagine? We created one of the most introvert playlists in the world, because there's the same song repeating. And also writers, together with the chiefs, created food together with a small story about it. So this was the big last year, and of course the main channel for us were toilets, because you know, when you are a real introvert, where you hide in a toilet. So it was quite big, because even BBC came to our stand saying like, "Hello, we are from toilet." So so yeah, that's what people even the people were really happy about it, and that's how we got to the BBC.
Thank you. Thank you. Are we so introverts, or here is also extroverts? Okay.
No, I'm super introvert, but I will try to ask a question. Could you tell us more about the future of this campaign, and actually more about the design value in that?
I think the design value is kind of more philosophical or in our minds. It's not like visual design, it's design of thinking. Because probably, I mean, we created a new point of view from which we could observe ourselves and our uniqueness. I know that it kind of spread out, and even young students from the art schools are creating their, fashion lines called I am introvert and stuff. It's kind of something which changed our perception that we don't have to be loud to be noticed.
Okay. Oh, one more question.
It's not a question. I just yesterday we saw the video all together and we had a great laugh, and I think everyone should see the video if it's available online. Definitely, you should check it out. It's a great video.
Thank you.
Paldies, Una. The next presentation is Bookazine, Benji Newman, please.
Hello everyone, I am Agnes Kleine, the editor-in-chief and publisher of the named Bookazine. I won't have any presentations, pictures and everything. I hope, dear jury, that you took a look of the Bookazine yourselves, touched it, went through it, and maybe, I don't know, if you opened the this issue, which is issue number 8, maybe it fall out of your hands when you were opening that. Did that happen? Like, okay, because kind of it was the design issue there that it was meant to be so. But okay, a little bit of the background of the concept of the brand and the character maybe, if you wish. So Benji Newman is a bilingual bookazine published first in 2014. At the moment we are working on our anniversary issue number 10, and for the jury's attention we submitted issue 8 and 9, our current latest ones. And as I mentioned, it's a bilingual edition, meaning it's Latvian part English. So every Latvian story, interview, essay, you name it, is translated to English. So the main idea why we are doing this thing is we have two really simple goals behind our work. First one, to create a space or place where anybody can simply be. No matter how perfect, rich, beautiful, doesn't matter. You can simply come if you have a story, if you want to listen to our stories. The second goal is also simple, but maybe a bit broader, and that is to tell the Latvian story in international language. When I say international, technically it's English, as I mentioned. But generally, it's the human language, because the stories published in Benji Newman and the activities around the brand on social media, in our T-shirt line, or another communication way how we do it, is that we create this space where we talk about our life as it is. That's why our tagline and slogan is "Life that you can read" or "Life that you can wear." It's pretty easy, and with this aim, we believe that that is how we can advertise, if you want, Riga and Latvia, or just people living here. But that is not mainly like the main target. It's just one of the goals, because the very main one is to create a space where we can talk about stuff that happens to us in our daily lives. And that's like because whenever people ask me, so what is really Benji Newman about, I am telling to them life, and they are perplexed and like, no fashion, no dogs, no sports, I don't understand. And I'm like, life, the thing that we both do, we live, so it's all the contents of that you will find at Benji Newman. Right, and about the design issues, if you want. So we don't really curate every issue. As what it happens on the process and the time of period when we produce the upcoming issue, that's how the outcome looks like. And for the issue 8, that is the only one at the moment that we took apart, because every issue contains 9 to 10 stories, and we decided to print each story as a separate zine or a notebook. And they are all put together in these covers and strengthened with rubber plastics, what some people call the money elastics, because that's how you wrap money. By the way, so that's if you go to eBay to find those elastics, that's what you would write. And the idea of this issue, which is titled "Art is Hard" or "Māksla is grūta," came from this Soviet time art album, sized like this, a really small one, published 1967, that I stumbled upon in my dad's bookcase. I hadn't seen it before because some other artist had given it to him. So it is the Soviet times, and that art album is black and white, and it contains small, tiny, separate zines or just leaflets of different Soviet Latvian artists, meant, I guess, as a for communicating Soviet Latvian art abroad, because each of those notebooks contains, as I said, the paintings of the named artists in black and white, because it's the Soviet time, and a short CV of the given artist in Latvian, Russian, and English. So from there came the idea that we are going to make a separate issue on art itself, or more specifically on the hard part of doing art. And not that it doesn't really mean that we are talking about artists per se, because this issue was devoted and is still devoted to anybody who has or still is doing something creative or less creative, but who knows what it means when you send a presentation titled Final PDF, or somebody, a small business owner who himself or herself creates stuff, brings it to the shops, cleans his office, and etc. Because that's how we underline and tell to people who are our readers, current and future readers, that art is hard, life is not easy, but it's fun if we can do it together, and that's how we underline it with this issue. But other than that, yes, I'm finishing. Other than that, I just invite people who are tired of maybe Instagram-derived visual aesthetics and the perfect life, and come to the Benji side. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wondered whether you could explain to me who Benji Newman is.
Yeah, right.
And also, is every issue experimental in this way with the art direction, or was this a one-off?
There are two questions actually, right? Okay, so first one, Benji Newman. So the story goes that he is a Latvian man in his now early 40s, who has discovered that his roots are from Latvia, his grandfather is from Riga, and so he comes back to discover and explore his roots. On the same time, he is actually traveling around and meeting people on his life, and he is searching for his perfect life, which is of course impossible, because even if you find your perfect day, the next perfect day can be even more perfecter, right? So there is this moving goal. Okay, and for the artistic direction, this is not the first one in the length of Benji Newman life, is that for issue 4, when as an editor I just received the stories from all the contributors, and I just felt that there is this one specific concept or topic in the air of all of them, coming from not only from Latvia but internationally, and that was the feeling of displacement. People felt technically, physically, or just in their mind displaced and not in the right position or place. And so I told my art director, listen, Madara, what can we do? How can we communicate this idea through design? And read quite fast. In a couple of hours, she comes back to me and she says, let's glue the cover upside down. So when you pick up the issue, so you just open the first and you are like, oh, what's wrong with this issue? But it said, because we wrote, turn it upside down and start to read it from there. And when you turn it upside down, there's another writing which says you're in the right place now, even though you have felt displaced any other moment of life. We can be together and read it like this. So this was our aim, and only when we produced it, we found out that there is even more fun, if you wish, because if a person reads that magazine on a public transportation, a public space, it looks like that he or she is just silly or stupid. So he or she feels displaced and feels the feeling of the writer of the stories in the issue.
Paldies, Agnese.
Paldies.
So, digisafe.lv game, please. Next presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oskars, and I'm from Wrong Digital Agency, and I'm here to tell you about our project DigiSafe. Well, European Union regulation and rules may be long and complicated to understand for those who doesn't work with them daily. And this is just one of many examples how they explain geo-blocking and what we should know about it. And we wanted to cover 12 of the topics in total, like identity theft, device hacking, cyber threats, copyrights, plagiarism, digital arts, etc. So our main target audience were kids who's still in school and like to interact with their phones a lot. And we all know that reading is boring and doing is fun, so that's the approach we wanted to go forward. We created 12 micro-interactive games that illustrated the situations that the laws or regulations stand for, and our mood board were colorful and used simple shapes, so this seemingly boring topic doesn't feels like that. And we crafted it in 3D, and video would show you the examples of interactions. So we used interaction as part of our design, and so it's fun and easy to go through the situations that illustrates. This one, for example, is unsecure Wi-Fi, where you can connect in public space, and by unlocking it, this situation, you can read how you can protect yourself from this kind of situation. And this example is about geo-blocking, and that's stands for when you subscribe for some service in Latvia, you should be able to access it in other European Union countries. So that was our approach to this project, and thank you.
Paldies, Oskar.
Thank you. Maybe you can tell us more about how actually children start to use this app, how you make sure that children get this app, and maybe how you make sure that after the game, the children are reading actually that text.
Well, of course, it's just part of the communication and educating the children about it. European Union goes to the schools and tells them about those topics, and they offers them to try themselves to solve those puzzles and learn about those topics. So it's part of the communication, and that's how.
I love that you took like a really complex and relevant topic and you try to gamify and make it especially for not only the children. I think that all of us, we should be looking into that. But how do you feel that how you can scale up this so it's not in one-time shot, and then the people can keep returning and keep really learning about the rules?
Well, by going deeper and updating with simple illustrations about those topics, because it's like reading terms and conditions that nobody does. If you're not a lawyer, then it's a bit complicated, but we should all know some part of it or how it addresses me as an individual. So by simply illustrating the situations that everyone can understand and keeping updating.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Paldies, Oskar.
Thank you.
And let's continue about with presentation about mobile app Yellow.
All right, does this work? Can you guys hear me in the back? Perfect. Good morning, everyone, members of the jury, organizers, colleagues, friends. My name is Krišjānis, and I'm going to be talking today about Yellow. And I'm one of the 3 co-founders, alongside with my buddies Martiņš, who couldn't be here today because he's in Berlin, and Jirts, who's somewhere there in the back. And together we built Yellow, which is an educational app that makes it faster, easier, and less expensive for people to learn road traffic rules. And the app is also available both on the App Store and Google Play. And so we essentially built Yellow for 2 reasons. One, because quite frankly, we had a really hard time getting our driver's licenses, and we thought that we were kind of tired of sitting in a classroom like this for up to 4 or 5 hours every week for up to 2 months, and we thought there had to be a better way. And second, the more we talked to our friends and people around me, the more we realized that we didn't know a single person who had ever said that, you know, hey guys, I really enjoyed getting my driver's license. So we thought that, you know, we had to do something about it. And we also realized that while people can easily get a bachelor's degree in Latvia online, you can't really learn road traffic rules online, which seemed sort of ridiculous for us. So we set out 3 goals for us. The first one being that we wanted to build something that normal people could actually understand, as opposed to what you typically get taught at a driving school. And second, we also wanted it to be something that's easy and fun to use, and also something that prioritizes actually learning something in the first place, as opposed to just getting your knowledge tested, much like all the other apps do. And so we built Yellow, and Yellow has all the 46 different topics that one needs to learn to get a driver's license. Things like, you know, what all these symbols and lines on the streets mean, what do the signs mean, how do you cross an intersection, as well as things like what do you do when there's an ambulance coming. But not only that, when you actually get to these topics, you get a lot of different situations, and I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I think we have like more than 2,500 different unique situations, like railroad crossings, just intersections, signs, buses, and all sorts of other things. And we also wanted to kind of like have game elements in the app, because we were interested in helping people kind of like move along and actually finish learning. So we have a lot of different things like badges and progress and game elements and things like that. But we also didn't want to take ourselves too seriously, and we wanted to have fun. So whenever you see construction workers in the app, one of them is always smoking, while all the other ones are not doing anything at all. And then when it's you know, about the project buildings and so on, you always get these explicit Russian graffitis. And so as a result, we built Yellow essentially in 4 months, and it works in both platforms. It's available on the App Store and Google Play. It has 46 different topics, 138 different tests. So Yellow has now been used by more than 5,000 users. We haven't run a single ad or done anything else on that matter. And we didn't essentially spend any money building this. And since launching, we've had offers to essentially launch Yellow in other countries. We have had offers from Estonia and other places, so right now we're thinking of how to build this in Germany and Russia. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. I really appreciate the idea, and I think it's very useful. and I love this visual and everything else. But I have a question, which I was, let's be honest, I was a bit disappointed when I tested it, because I thought it's such a simple idea and it could help me a lot, because I learned from books, which are basically images and text, and I thought this is interactive, meaning it's gonna move, it's like a video, so I'm gonna understand it much more easier and faster, but it wasn't moving, so it was still the same, it was image and text. So I was wondering, why didn't you do the moving parts like a video, so it's easier to understand and maybe remember?
Right. Well, that's funny you said that, because when we started out, we thought that the game, a game is actually the way of doing this. But once we started testing that out, we realized that it's actually distracting, not to mention that it's quite difficult to build in the first place. So what we realized is that, researching things like Duolingo and other apps that help people to learn things like code and other things, we realized that this combination of essentially a visual and a text setting is what actually is the most effective way of helping people learn something.
Yeah, otherwise I think it's great to just to sit on the public transport while you're going somewhere and then just even for remembering it.
Paldies, Christian.
Thank you.
Oh, one more question, sorry.
Sorry, can you tell us more about this testing part, how you did it with the users, or it just was inside your company? Or?
Right. So there were actually several elements to this. First, two of us were actually going through getting our own driver's licenses. So in a sense, we were building something that we ourselves wanted to use. So we used that on ourselves, but then we sort of forced everyone of our friends and family to use this and the testing that way. But since then, we've had more than 5,000 people using this, and we've had a lot of feedback on Facebook. People have reached out to us and so on. So we kind of know what the issues are, and because we have so many unique situations and so many things that people need to learn, as well as tests, obviously a lot of grammatical errors and things like that creep in. So that's something we're working on, and none of us are really good at Latvian, so that doesn't help too much. But the testing was essentially first done on ourselves, then friends and family, and then once we launched, we have quite a big of a user base.
Just a last quick, but I think important question. You did it on your own in a way. Of course, I think you ask questions and then a response. But we have LDGB, which is the drivers' organization who submits and gives you a license. Have you collaborated with them? Are they aware? Do they want to, collaborate further?
Yeah, well, I think they are aware, and what we have worked with is a couple of driving schools, because obviously we needed quite a bit of help from instructors, but funnily enough, most driving schools require all driving instructors to sign a non-DA agreement so that they wouldn't work with anyone else, but we found someone who did work with us. As for, shout out Maris, as for CSDD, I think they are aware of this. I'm not sure what their interest in supporting something like this is, because it is private, but if they're open to that, we're open to.
Yeah, I think you should try and collaborate with them. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So we still have 4 of 20 finalists whose presentations we are interested to hear and see. The next, please, a smart solar shelter.
So, hello everyone. I'm from company MDT Baltic. My name is Mācis, and we will start our presentation with a quick video. continue with presentation. So, MDT Text is known for its textile architecture, and we have developed our tulip-shaped umbrella further into sustainable solar energy harvesting solution for urban purposes. So this is our product, and the innovative construction serves as generous shade provider, withstanding high wind loads due to its robust construction and forms a durable membrane. This is our second version of solar carport, and the only difference from the first one is that it's asymmetric, so the pole or the mast is not in the center of construction. The general dimensions is that its height is 4.1 meter, and the square on top is 5.3 by 5.3 meters. And on top we have 15 solar panels. Our solar carports are fixed steel structures, so they are not collapsible. Because of this tulip-shaped design, which we can see, we can also harvest water, which can be later used for different purposes. And in the same time, solar panels ensure maximum energy generation. The energy can be used for direct charging by consumers or later stored in batteries for later use. And so three of these solar shelters are enough to generate enough energy for one household. And we will continue with our already completed projects or reference photos. This is from Switzerland, Tagevillen. This was our first place where we did install our solar shelters or carports. This is our last project in Atlanta, in United States of America. And this one is, here you can see this asymmetric solar carport. It's installed also in Switzerland, in Dilsdorf, near BMW office. And this is in Grenada. Also, we installed there 3 of our carports. And thank you for your attention, that's all.
Thank you. Is there some questions from jury? Paldies. Ir.
Thank you. Could you tell us more about the future plans with this product?
Future plans would be develop this more and get a new project. And we are also now working on smaller solar shelters for cities to charge e-bikes or e-scooters, or just to be able to charge your phone or tablet. So the same structure, the same design, but a smaller one.
Paldies, liels. The next one, please, is digital tool social design magazine Ir, political Tinder.
Well, hello everyone. This time I'm going to talk about different kind of Tinder than we maybe are used to see. So, politics and Tinder. Who could think this could be a perfect match? Well, we, magazine Ir, did. And it all happened here, using our phones. I am Agnes, and I represent magazine Ir and our project Ir Political Tinder. And we made this in collaboration with advertising agency Makan Riga. And talking about the main issue, last fall we had very important parliament elections. And unfortunately there was very high number of people who were not ready and were not even thought of who could they possibly vote for. And the results were upsetting because 1 month before the elections, more than 40% of people didn't know what to vote for. And only 25% of young people planned to vote. These are very bad numbers. And we wanted to change that. So we thought about something easy and understandable, how to find your perfect political match. And that's when Political Tinder was born. So there were 2 options how to find your perfect match. The first one was the fun part. You just scroll the pictures and press you like or dislike them. So that's how you base your decision on the good looks of politicians. The second part was answer to 24 topical, political, and social questions. That's how you can determine with which political party you have similar views. And you had a chance to compare both of the results. So this allowed to tell if that was enough information for you, or maybe you need something more. More information you could find in our website, which was a bit below all the compared together both results. So, to how we made this happen. We asked politicians, 5 top candidates of each party, 24 questions that were based on issues that were important in politics and social themes. For example, should we allow gay marriage? Should we reduce the number of municipalities here in Latvia? These are questions that need to be answered. So we asked candidates to answer them. Later on, we asked society to do the same and compare their views on the politicians' views. So that's why it was meaningful and socially responsible project, because it allowed to easily find out with which political party you share the same views, and it gained its popularity due to its easily understandable format, and because it was a smart design. Overall, Tinder's had more than 58,000 unique users and 79,000 sessions. And this is a different kind of Tinder, I gotta say. And it was a lot more than we usually think of as for a Tinder. This was. Yeah, it's your bait. It was a perfect starter pack for voters, and I would like to say that it allowed them to think what was truly important to them individually and for society together. Okay, and thank you.
Paldies, liels.
Thanks for that. You describe it as a socially engaged project. You
Yes.
know, forgive my ignorance, but does your magazine have any political bias?
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't represent myself that well, because we are the only independent magazine here in Latvia. We represent independent media overall, and that's why it was like our duty to make something that was easy, but with a deep meaning afterwards. Maybe because when you see Tinder, it seems, okay, it's different kind of Tinder, okay, but the questions the questions themselves, they had something more to it. They were based on very topical issues. That's why, yeah, it has had some bias.
And do you have evidence that this encouraged more young people to vote?
Yeah, I didn't have specific data here, but independent research company SKDS showed that around more than 30% young people went to vote. So there's a 10% increase in that. But based on our own Google Analytics data, most users were young people aged 18 and 25, which was one of our main goals.
You have collected a large amount of very interesting data through this. How are you going to use it? Or are you going to use it?
You mean about the answers in questions?
Yes.
Okay.
All the answers. It's. I think it's very useful and interesting information.
I agree. It's interesting and useful information. But these are the themes we write daily about, and these are the topics that are important to us. And it's good that people pay attention to that as well. But we will use with these data is we're just gonna continue to dig and inform people around us, and we want to create critical thinking people around us. And this tool helped us, and our future work will do as well.
Thank you.
No, Indra actually asked my question, but could you remind me, was there a Russian version for that project?
No, there was just Latvian.
Okay.
Paldies, Liz. So from politics to fashion, the next presentation, Avoiding the Avoid. With sound effects, nice.
Hello, everyone. So this is my graduate collection from Art Academy of Latvia. So main inspiration was a research of northern identity and references of historical fishermen workwear. It is a combination of complicated constructions that shows elements of deconstruction and movement. And the title, Avoiding the Void, also means the wish to break out of the inner void and to keep one's identity. So here is some inspirational photos and some photos of sketches and process materials, and here is the photo of collection. So it showed how this theme makes contrast between natural textures and artificial surfaces that hold us underneath. From the visual point of view, I focused on showing the collection as design objects and combinations of materials rather than functional garments. And it includes fabric finishes such as vacuum effect and net, complex asymmetric details, and combinations of classic wear and sportswear. So matching the concept and materials such as wool, leather, rubber, latex, wind and water-resistant fabrics were chosen. So, and in a simple way, I am showing these two opposite sides of a person, the conservative introvert, who is wearing a classic tailor jacket or this shirt, underneath the vacuum latex, and it is like a opposite thing towards a person who wish to break free, and that's why it was important to me to show these details of movement. Yes, thank you.
Paldies.
Thanks for your presentation. I just wanted to, this is a master's work,
Yes.
yeah? And what's the next step? Are you gonna sell it? You gonna establish your
yes.
own company? You gonna pitch it to some other companies? What's the
With
future?
this collection, I'm actually going to participate in a very prestigious contest in south of France. It's called Fashion and Photography Festival of Year, and such big names as labels Chloe, Chanel, and LVMH Group are the main sponsors for that competition. So I'm in the final of that.
Well, best of luck here and there. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and then is the very last presentation for today. Collected articles just on time. Design stories about Latvia.
So, hello everyone, honorable jury, our guests, organizers. Yes, just on time. We are very short in time. But before I in brief tell about our project, I would like to ask how often daily you open book and how often every day you open your gadgets. We are reading every day, but how often we are reading book? Today, one of presentations tell us reading is boring. So, doing this book, we have several goals to achieve. To prove that also in 21st century and for the millennium generation, reading books cannot be boring. And also to promote Latvian design, to tell about the Latvia, about the achievements in last 100 years through the design stories. So, last year, 2018, everyone knows, we celebrate Latvia, our centenary. Many culture projects, many important exhibitions, and we can say that somehow we are a little bit bored from this very official centenary celebration. There are many exhibitions, many books, heavy, hard-covered, but we decided to do different, opposite. We created a book which is very small size. We can say at least it's even pocket size. It's light. You can take it to your country house. You can read in the bus or somewhere else. And you can look pictures, but also get information. That is very important. The book design was designed by Zigmunds Lapsa, and we work from the very starting point to think about the book, about the content, and about the image. So this book contains, as you see, 11 stories about Latvian design, followed through all these 100 years, over which design has gradually become an independent discipline, detaching from art, architecture, craft, and industry. It's very important. We would like to combine scholar articles and interviews with eyewitnesses. So the book is one academical research and text and one interview. So changing by, it's also changing the layout of letters, and it helps you, how to say, to keep interest about this. And the timetable is very important timeline. We made specially, it is the first timeline about Latvian design created in last 100 years, and it's document important historical turning points, exhibitions, products in the design field, and events. What is important? We have some academical books about design, but not covering all 100 years. So this is really the first book which combines, it is like an anthology, bringing together academically materials, meanwhile creating the sense of presence for the readers. And here you can turn the pages. From my colleagues in the museum field, we have such references that, this book is really interesting to read. I started and don't want to stop. So, thank you.
Palieciet, lūdzu, varbūt būs kāds jautājums. Jā?
Thanks for the Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Thanks for the presentation. I think it's a great read. I've read a couple of pages myself as well. But and it's great to know. Yeah, it's great to know history of Latvian design, because otherwise it's a bit complex to get the information from. But this is for locals. But I think we have many tourist friends visiting even us today, and it's in Latvian.
The book. All the texts are bilingual.
Is it? Yeah?
Everything is, yes. And in the design of the book, you can also, I would like to show that also design to differ. You see this gray paper, it's English, but illustrations are all only in Latvian text. So it's, you read, and under the pictures you have bilingual. If you are interested, because of course, first of all, people are about the design in design magazines. First of all, you are looking pictures, yes? So Latvian texts are with pictures, but they are not too long, and with explanations in both languages, and then English text is following. Yeah? So I can, if you are interested, of course, you can look here. For sure, because the target group is young generation, to tell them about the stories, about our history, and not only professionals and design lovers. And it's, of course, Latvia is so small, we need all books we produce are always bilingual, and even in 3 languages sometimes. It's because of partners. So you see here it is Latvian text and English.
Paldies. Vēl kāds jautājums? One more question. Jānis, of course.
Thank you. Could you tell us more about the activities? How you make sure that this book gets the target audience, the youngsters, young designers?
As this book was supported financially from Culture Ministry in this centenary project. So the book is delivered to the National Library and other libraries. We have books in design school and other design colleges. So we are not promoting this book in the market. It's available in our museum, but it because of price. Because price is very affordable. Price is 13 euros. It's really very low, lower than the budget of the book, but it's our aim that even student, even pensioner can afford this book if they are interested. So, thank you.
Paldies, Ines. So thank you so much for your attention, dear jury. I hope that this morning session will help you during the work of this day. All decision-making process, I hope it will help a lot. So Paldies visiem par klātbūtni, paldies par uzklausīšanu. Tātad mēs dzirdējām 19 no 20 finālistiem, vairs nevienam pacietība nav palikusi. Everybody is already rushing out from this room, okay. Vienīgais to, ko es gribēju lūdzu pateikt visiem finālistiem, kuri šeit atrodās, jūs visas, protams, laipni aicināti rīt ceremonijas noslēgumā būt klāt, un jums ir jābūt klāt, un tad arī mēs visi kopā aizvadīsim ceremonijas noslēgumu, un, protams, visi, kā lai pasaka, visiem sagādāsim brīnišķīgas emocijas, un arī pieredzēsim balvas ieguvēju apbalvošanu. Paldies! Thank you, jury! Have a nice day, and see you tomorrow in the ceremony.